Chapter 25. Li Xuansui wins over all his friend. The poem reads, a hero blessed by heaven, entrusted with the task of upholding great responsibilities. Why should his 7-foot frame and righteous heart be confined? He faces peril without fear, and when life and death are at stake, his heart is unmoved. How admirable! He speaks not of his gourd-like courage, nor his leaf-like body. He is ashamed to play the game without a sword, but delighted to strike the oar midstream. He always helps those in distress and resolves disputes, his steps swift and unyielding. His pockets are empty, his heroic spirit soaring like clouds. Why should he be greedy for eternal fame or a momentary chivalrous act? Right tune, Man Jiang Hong. I have often seen loyal ministers and righteous men throughout the land, who, when faced with inescapable circumstances, are given a way out, a way to survive. These loyal ministers and righteous men, though they do not seek success through luck or by chance, know that heaven's will is benevolent, and a virtuous person remains a virtuous person. Xiubao, in his momentary impulsiveness, never considered that Li Xuansui and Chai Sicheng would intervene on his behalf. Unexpectedly, 2 reinforcements were laid in ambush early in the morning. That night, after drinking until midnight, Shan Xingxin and his group returned to Jia Runfu's house to rest. Su Honk went to Yan's shop to wait for Xiubao's reply. Fan Jianwei and the other 2 went home. Xingxin slept until dawn, then hurriedly urged Li and Chai to carry out their tasks. The 2 went off separately. Li Xuansui went to see Chief Steward Lai and explained that he had come to celebrate the birthday of Qin Xiubao's mother. He said that Xiubao had been harassed by the state for capturing thieves and asked his brother to use some pretext to bring him back to prevent further harm. Lai the general said, "This man is capable and I've been eyeing him for a while, but he's only dealing with 2 petty thieves, which shouldn't be difficult for him to capture. Unexpectedly, he's been reprimanded by the state. The problem is, we need to bring him here now, but we don't have a proper reason. If we keep him under our command, the state will object." He thought for a moment and said, "I've got it." The other day, General Ma sent a document saying that many soldiers have died while supervising the river works, and he needs me to send 500 men to compensate. I'll appoint him as a general and give him the document. This is urgent official business. How can he stay? If he tries to keep me here again, I'll have my reasons. At first, I only accused him of accepting bribes and refusing to capture the thieves, but now that I've reprimanded him, it's clear he didn't let the thieves go. The state has its own arresting officers. Why would they use their personal connections to harm my officer? I'll have my soldiers prepare his gear, and he can just wait for the document to be sent. He then invited Xu Wensui to stay for dinner. Xu Wensui repeatedly refused, saying, "Brother, I am already deeply grateful for your help in obtaining Qin Qiang's banner." He wanted him to stay at the yamen for a few days, but Xu Wensui said, "I fear that Prefect Liu Shenwen will harm Qin Qiang at Yuan Kai's place. I need to protect him there, so it is inconvenient for me to stay long." The steward had no choice but to write a decree, which he then returned to Jia Runfu's house to pay his respects, giving it to Li Xuansui and providing him with travel expenses for his next journey, amounting to several hundred taels. Xu Bao's words. The net of tang opens on 3 sides. The wild goose cannot be found. What does the hunter yearn for? His gaze is fixed on the blue clouds. Chai Sicheng went to see Prefect Liu, who, being the son of his patron, invited him to stay for tea and a meal. Prefect Liu, however, spoke first of his own humility in Kizhu, mentioning how he had been as incorruptible as water, barely consuming any food. He had never been charged extra for transporting tribute silver. He had mostly dismissed lawsuits without imposing fines or redemptions. Unexpectedly, bandits had robbed him of 3,000 taels of relief silver from a neighboring prefecture, and now demanded compensation from his prefecture. He had no other recourse, and had been searching for and arresting the thieves for days without any success, causing him great distress. Chai Sicheng seized the opportunity and said, "Among the arresting officers is Qin Qiang, who was previously sent to Chang'an and became sworn brothers with me. Yesterday, I came to celebrate his mother's birthday and heard that he had been unjustly implicated, so I came to ask for his help." Governor Liu said, "Brother, you don't know. This Qin Qiang is a regular member of the bandits, raising thieves and sharing the spoils, which is why he was able to become a flag bearer and make connections in distant places. The arresting officers attacked him, and I have confirmed this, so I ordered him to pursue the thief. Even if he doesn't catch the thief, he can still afford to compensate for the stolen goods. If you are lenient with him, the thief will not be caught, and I will definitely have to pay the 3,000 taels of silver. Tomorrow, I'm preparing the necessary paperwork to send him to the Eastern Capital's Grand Minister Yuan. Today, you instructed me to only extend his stay a few days, allowing him to steal the loot." Si Chang said, "I think the Eastern Capital only wants the money. They won't send the man. Sending the paperwork is fine." Prefect Liu said, "It's precisely because this money is so hard to come by. I can't afford to pay it back, so I'll have to search the counties under my jurisdiction. Everything that can be searched is prey for the county officials, who would be willing to part with their own money. Therefore, I have no choice but to arrest him." Chai Si-cheng realized that Prefect Liu intended for Xu Bao and his men to pay for this. With a smile, he said, "In that case, why not wait for the arresting officers to pay half the amount and then cancel the matter?" Governor Liu said, "How can that be canceled? Even if it's less than a tael, it's still an unresolved case, and it will affect my assessment." Chai Si-cheng said, "In that case, wait for the arresting officers to pay the amount, and then the assessment will be over." Governor Liu said, "It's not difficult for these people to pay more. Besides, they're used to the ways of thieves, so paying is only right. However, these people are all from Luoyang, and not to mention that the journey there is extremely dangerous. The travel expenses alone will be considerable. Now you've set a condition, requiring them to not only pay for the stolen goods, but also give you 500 taels. This is a small token of my appreciation. I won't compare it tomorrow. I'll let him pay the silver. I'll also give him a license so that when the thief is caught, he can be caught and the stolen goods returned to him." Chai Si-cheng then smiled and rose, saying, "I'm afraid these poor people won't be able to pay the full amount." Governor Liu said, "The imperial silver must not be less. As long as Qin Qiang issues a confession and distributes it to everyone, I will catch up to the full amount. This is also my gratitude gift, brother. Please don't let his complaints about poverty make it less than it should be." Chai Si-cheng said, "As long as the stolen goods are fully repaid, I appreciate your kindness." He rose to take his leave, and Governor Liu saw him off to the gate of the mansion. Indeed, as long as he heals his own wounds, he doesn't care if they cut off his flesh. When Chai Si-cheng returned to the Jia family, Li Xuansui had already received the official document from the steward and was waiting for Chai Si-cheng to arrive so he could inquire about news from the household and then go together to see Xu Bao. Upon meeting, Xuansui showed the official document to Chai Si-cheng, saying, "I was just about to take you to see Xu Bao. Tell him to get ready." Chai Si-cheng read it and sighed. These days, people look down on military officials. They're the most straightforward. These civil officials are stingy. They may look respectable, but they're also cunning. They've turned a simple exemption into a huge debt. They basically want these bandits to pay for the stolen goods, saying they'll give them a license and then pay them back when they catch the thieves. Shang Xingxin said, "That's true. But of these bandits, besides Xu Bao, Fan Jianwei, Tang Wanren, and Lion Zhezhen, who are probably able to pay off their debts, the rest of them have clothes on their backs and food in their bellies. Which one of them can afford to pay off their debts?" Bo Dang said, "We need to find a way to help them." Cheng Yaojin said, "No need to discuss that. We took it, so we'll make up for it. Master, you hurry home, empty the original amount, and use some money to make up for it. Then we can use it to rescue Brother Qin Qiang. Yujunda also agreed to go. Chai Sicheng said, "This is what I said, it's all on me." Zhang Gongjin said, "How can you burden only your brother?" Chai Sicheng said, "No, this is also Brother Qin's silver." Bo Dang said, "When did Brother Qin have any silver with you?" Chai Sicheng said, "It's because Qin Xiubao saved my father-in-law at Jiaxugang. When I met him at Bayad Temple, I sent a letter to my father-in-law. By the time my father-in-law sent someone to deliver some silver, Xiubao had already returned. It's been a while, and I've only just managed to bring it. I was planning to send it after the birthday celebration, but I'm afraid he's a good man who doesn't seek reward and won't accept the silver. It's better to settle this matter later." Bai Xiandao said to Jia Runfu, "This is the best thing to do." Tong Huan and Jin Jia said, "It's no wonder Brother Cheng had such insight the other day, stopping the fight and ultimately settling things for him." Cheng Yaojin laughed. "It's too good for us too. This is." Zhang Gong drinks wine. Li Gong gets drunk, the apes of Chu die, and the forest is in ruins. Just then a shout came from outside. "Prefect Liu has come to pay his respects." Everyone else stepped aside, but Si Chang alone went to see him off. He saw them off 3 times for their journey and 3 times for their banquet. While drinking tea, Prefect Liu said, "I've already sent word to inform you about the matter. First, I'll settle your thanks, brother, and then I'll set a deadline to collect the money, exempt them from the journey, and give them the money. If it weren't for you, brother, I wouldn't have listened. These 50-odd men are being sent to the capital. They're all going to die, and they'll never come back." Chai Si Chang said, "I appreciate your kindness, brother." Prefect Liu said, "Brother, that's not what you mean. You must make sure they pay the full amount, otherwise I'll be lying to you. Besides, our land is cold and harsh. If we give up this favor, we'll have no other chance. You mustn't let this go." Having said this, he took his leave and got into his sedan chair. The key to officialdom is frugality. Who would give a friend a penny? Always associate with the poor, carrying their blood and sweat across mountains and passes. Hearing this, the crowd asked, "What did Governor Liu tell you not to relax just now?" Chai Sicheng laughed and said, "He told me to demand 500 taels of silver as a reward. Don't pay him any mind, just say I've received it and that's it." Li Xuansui said, "In that case, you've lost 500 taels." Chai Sicheng had his servant take the silver, and together with Shan Xingxin, Li Xuansui, and Wang Badeng, they went to Qin Xiubao's house. Fan Jianwei, because Governor Liu had sent a trusted clerk to spread the word that they needed to compensate him for the stolen goods and pay 500 taels of silver to Chai Sicheng, or at least 300 taels, was in a panic and rushed over to discuss the matter with Xiubao. Just then, Chai Sicheng and the other 3 arrived, greeted Fan Jianwei, and thanked Qin Xiubao. Li Xuansui then presented a written order which read, "The imperial envoy from the Kizhu General Administration has come on official business. I hereby order you to lead 500 cavalrymen of this prefecture, along with their rosters, to report to the imperial envoy, the Grand General of the River Conservancy, Ma. No delays or disturbances are permitted. You must not obstruct them at any passes or ferries, and you must obtain this approval. Right Commandant Qin Qiang hereby authorizes this. September 23rd, 6th year of the day era. Deadline, date to be specified." Li Xuansui said, "Come, steward, gather the troops. We need you to set off within about 3 days." Xiubao saw this and didn't mind. Only Fan Jianwei exclaimed in surprise, "Congratulations, brother. You're about to embark on your mission and escape this hardship. But how can we afford the 3,000 taels of silver and even have to contribute 500 taels to Brother Chai's share?" Shan Xingxin said, "Fan Jianwei knows as well." Fan Jianwei said, "I have many acquaintances in the Yamen. When Brother Chai spoke, someone came to inform us. Later, Master Liu sent an official to make it clear, which made me very anxious. That's why I came to discuss this with Brother Xiubao." Wang Bading said, "Jianwei, don't panic. Brother Chai not only doesn't want your share, but he'll also pay for the 3,000 taels of silver himself." Fan Jianwei said, Is that really true? Qin Xiubao said. Yes, but that's not true. I don't want Brother Chai to pay, nor do I want Fan Jianwei and the others to pay. Let's just use all our possessions to pay the official debt. If that's not enough, I can borrow from somewhere. Chai Sicheng said, This silver is originally yours. Chai Sicheng then took out Tang Gongshu, and his servants brought over 2 hanging boxes, a gift box and a leather trunk. Chai Sicheng said, This is a letter from my father-in-law sent to me. You returned long ago, but I was busy with other matters and had to deliver it in person, so I haven't been able to, and it's been delayed until now. Xiubao opened the letter, which was a nameplate addressed to Servant Li Yuan, bowing respectfully, and a second letter which read, The campaign in Guanzhong has deeply moved me, and I regret that I have no way to repay your kindness. Receiving your letter, I am overjoyed. I respectfully offer 3,000 taels of silver as a birthday gift to the general. We will meet again someday, and I will thank you in person. I am deeply grateful for your kindness during the campaign in Guanzhong, and I regret that I have no way to repay you. Receiving your letter, I am overjoyed. I respectfully offer 3,000 taels of silver as a birthday gift to the general. I hope we can meet again someday. Xu Bao, seeing this, said with a frown, Brother Chai, your father-in-law underestimates me. Does a man act for reward? Chai Sicheng smiled and said, Brother Qin certainly doesn't expect reward, and would my father-in-law be so ungrateful? Since we're here, let's make the best of it. Shang Xingxin said, Brother Xu Bao, this wasn't originally what you wanted. The journey was difficult, and there was no reason for Brother Chai to take it with him. Now that this matter is settled, the lives of these 50-odd families will be preserved, and you won't get a penny. Don't be stubborn about accepting it or not. Fan Jianwei said, Brother Xu Bao released the silver to buy copper. That means the lives of our 53 families are on it. Brother Chai is generous, and you should be too. Xu Bao was still hesitating when Shang Xingxin said, Jianwei, Xu Bao is on official business and will be leaving soon. You should take this money to settle the matter. Wang Bading said, We'll divide the money, and Brother Chai will also make a nominal contribution. We, the intermediaries, will each receive an extra share, and the stewards will each receive an extra share. It's essential. Everyone laughed together. Xu Bao said, But I'm uneasy. He got up and went inside, then took out another 300 taels of silver and said to Fan Jianwei, I think Governor Liu still needs some compensation for the head and fire loss, as well as travel expenses. You take this 300 taels of silver to make up the difference, so as not to burden everyone. I won't cancel the arrest warrant. Indeed. 1,000 pieces of gold for a single cent. Noble friendship shines through the ages. Fan Jianwei said, I can't take it all by myself, you keep it. I'll call Tang Wanren and the others over, and they'll see your heroic spirit. Xu Bao accepted it and invited several of them to stay at his home for a drink. Just then, Yu Junda and Cheng Yaojin came to say goodbye. Earlier, Cheng Yaojin had invited Chai Sicheng on the road to kill Jin and Tong, and although they were still friends, he felt somewhat uneasy. When they confessed to killing the official and robbing, he clearly implicated a bandit. Yaojin was satisfied, but Yu Junda found it rather dull. He reluctantly bowed and was about to get up. Cheng Yaojin said, I must see Xu Bao's whereabouts before I leave, otherwise, why would I burden him alone? When Chai and Li returned and learned that Xu Bao was safe, Yu Junda was afraid that their conversation the night before might have leaked information and led to his arrest, so he had to return first. Jia Runfu also wanted to clear his name and reluctantly tried to keep them. Therefore, the two of them came to thank him and say goodbye. Xu Bao stayed again, and they sat down for a farewell banquet. Fan Jianwei was also present, but neither of them mentioned it. Xu Bao said, I originally intended to keep you two brothers for a few more days, but I must depart the day after tomorrow, so I dare not keep you. Before leaving, he went inside to retrieve some gifts, which were from Qin's mother to Cheng's mother. They ate until they were very drunk, and Yujunda, Cheng Yaojin, Shan Xingxin, and others returned to the inn. Around dawn, Yujunda and Cheng Yaojin got up and left first. Frost covered the ground, reflecting the bright moonlight. The crowing of roosters echoed far and near. A trapped fish sheds its net and swims swiftly. A sick bird, startled by a bowstring, feels even lighter. The next morning, Qin Shu Bao learned that Governor Liu only wanted compensation for the stolen goods and probably wouldn't take him, so he went to thank the steward and bid him farewell. Lai Zongyuan said, "I couldn't stand up for you back then, and now you've suffered so much humiliation. Now you should go. For the sake of General Luo and Li Xuansui, I'll really look after you when you return. You're not someone to be underestimated." Xu Bao bowed and left. He then held a grand banquet, inviting his friends from the north, including Jia Runfu, Fan Jianwei, Tang Wanren, and Lion Zhezhen. The three men were extremely grateful to Chai Sicheng. It's unknown how Chai Sicheng would have gone to such lengths if it weren't for Qin Shu Bao. Xu Bao also asked Li Xuansui to write 3 letters, one to be returned to Tang Gong by Chai Sicheng, one to be sent to Yuchi Nan, in reply to Luo Xingtai, to convey his respects to his daughter and uncle, and another to Luo's cousin. The group of like-minded friends spent the day drinking and chatting, reminiscing and having a better time than usual. The moonlight seemed to fall from the cup. The wine overflowed and reflected the first rays of dawn. They talked of plays, oblivious to the night, while crows cawed in the deep forest at dawn. They ate until daybreak, yet the party hadn't ended. Outside, a commotion arose. It was the 500 men who had come to pay their respects. Xu Bao, now in military uniform, stood in the hall and instructed that only the squad leaders should come in. 10 captains and 50 squad leaders in a colorful array lined the courtyard, all bowing. Xu Bao said, "I have instructed you to depart tomorrow. You have already received your provisions. Prepare your luggage quickly. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., wait for me at the west gate." The men responded and dispersed. Shan Xingxin said to Xu Bao, "The other day you said, seeking glory is not found under the gates of the wealthy. If this is the case, it's all right." Xu Bao said, "Meeting brothers Li and Chai is truly a blessing in disguise." Li Xuansui said, "A great man's achievements are immeasurable." The men all went to their lodgings to collect gifts to congratulate him. Xu Bao also offered gifts, but none of them would accept them. Bo Dang said, "Xu Bao has been busy these past few days. Let's not waste time here. Let him pack his things and say a few words to my sister-in-law. Tomorrow, brother Xu Bao will leave through the west gate, passing by my lodging. We'll see him off there." Everyone laughed and dispersed. Sure enough, Xu Bao packed his things at home, arranged some household affairs, and told Fan Jianwei and the others to take the money meant for compensating for the stolen goods. Before noon the next day, the squad leader and his men, fully dressed and ready, came to welcome him. Xu Bao burned a bundle of paper money, bid farewell to his mother and wife, and donned a large hat with red embroidered sleeves and a gold embroidered belt. He mounted his yellow horse. These 50 men, lined up in formation, exited through the west gate. Compared to those in blue clothes and small hats in the city, they looked quite different. Ancient poem. The horses neigh sadly. The precious sword lies across the sky. A man vows to serve his country, better than being a scholar. Upon exiting the west gate and reaching the drawbridge, they were surrounded by ranks of soldiers on both sides. At the end of the market stood Ying'an Temple. Xu Bao dismounted and entered the temple. Fearing that some might be missing, he took out the roster and checked them off one by one. He also donated his own money, 3 coins for each captain, 2 coins for each platoon leader, and 1 coin for each straggler. The rewards alone cost 50 or 60 taels of silver. He selected 20 strong and capable men to serve as his personal guards, who would also receive additional rewards. After the matter was completed, his comrades and flag-bearers first came to see him off, offering 3 cups of wine as farewell. Then came Shan Xingxin and his men, who also offered 3 cups of wine. Xubao said, "Gentlemen, you have come from afar. I should have waited for your departure before leaving." However, due to Brother Xuansui's recommendation for this assignment, the deadline is approaching, and I cannot delay. He then said to Chai Sicheng, "Brother Chai, please continue to negotiate with Governor Liu. Don't let my departure cause trouble for Brother Fan Jianwei." Chai Sicheng replied, "I still need to obtain his permit. There's no need for you to trouble yourself, brother." He said to the Yuchi brothers, "Please convey my regards to my parents-in-law. I am bound by official business and cannot personally thank you." He said to Badeng and the others, "It's rare for all of you brothers to gather together, and we should have stayed longer. Unexpectedly, we must part." He said to Jia Runfu and Fan Jianwei, "My elderly mother is at home. Please take care of everything." He bid farewell to everyone, mounted his horse, and the 3 of them set off. A smile upon meeting. Unexpectedly, it becomes parting. Looking back at the maple forest, it seems to be stained with the blood of parting. Afterwards, Chai Sicheng settled the matter of repaying the stolen goods in Kiju, and they all departed together. Jia Runfu gave them generous gifts. Chai Sicheng went to Fenyang. The Yuchi brothers and Shidanai, being officials, dared not delay, and along with Zhang Gongjin and Bai Xiandao, had no choice but to go to Yuzhou. Only Li Xuansui, Wang Badeng, Shan Xingxin, Jin Guojun, and Tong Pijai remained on the road. What will happen next? Stay tuned for the next chapter.